Hello everyone and welcome to the grand final for HRL Forza Winter Short Track Showdown in the MX-5s. And yeah, we weren't originally going to have a grand final, but we decided to send it on it here because the season was such a blast. So decided to add this on to the end. We saw Luke and Matt starting on the front row, and then we got Slaunch and Detail on row 2. Let me know what you think about this different intro shot for the starting lineup. I quite like this one. Wanted to experiment a little bit here for the grand final, and I like this more than what I did for the regular season, so let me know what you think. Then we got Opix and Roman in row number 3. And then in the final row, going to have Armada. We have some drama with Armada, apparently switching orgs next season. We'll have to see what happens there. And then we got Coop in the final starting position. So Hockenheim short is the track. Here we go. We're green. It's going to be 16 laps here on this layout. So the actual Hockenheim layout is pretty big. This one kind of shortcuts a large part of the track. Matt going bowling there already in turn 1, taking out a few of the cones. That's a bit of a side quest, I guess, for these drivers in this race. Those cones actually respawn, so you're going to see a lot of drivers go bowling in turn 1 and see how many of those they can knock out throughout this race. Pretty fun little side quest there. And I like these replay cameras. I really liked the replay cameras for the last race that we did at Grand Oak. And some of the races throughout the season, I wasn't a big fan, and I stuck more to the in-game cameras, just following different drivers. But Grand Oak, I really liked the replay camera, and I really like the replay camera here for Hockenheim as well. I think they did a good job, and there's some really good shots around this track. So probably going to be mostly sticking with that one for this race, but as always, we'll mess around with it here and there. And early lead is actually going to be Detail, and we have some tire strategy stuff already. So Detail started on the mediums. Matt and Luke, I think Armada too, actually. I think Matt, Luke, Armada were the only ones to start on hards. So they were the ones, doing something different, switching it up a little bit. Obviously, Matt and Luke is going to be a little more interesting because they're on the front row. And here we have a quick replay, seeing how it looks for Luke going into turn 1. Oh, wow. Big run for Matt and Luke. They're going to get... looks like they're going to get that spot on Detail. Looks like they'll both take the position. So Detail with a really good start on those mediums, making it interesting. But Matt and Luke with a really good run out of turn 1. And they're going to be taking their first and second place back. But again, it was Luke on the pole. So Matt's actually going to move into the lead here. Off to a really good start. And I think that's been what's costing him in a lot of these Moto 1s is really good qualifying, but just not very good starts. Going back early, losing that track position early. But this is really good for him so far. Taking that lead early, and especially on the hards too, being able to control the pace at the front of the field on the hards is really important. It's hard not to just go backwards on the hards when you start on them. It's just obviously it's slower tire compound, it's just hard for that to not happen. But this is a really good start for Matt and Luke, really, on that compound. Getting back to 1-2 early on, controlling the pace of the race. If you can do that on the hards, I think you're at a pretty big advantage. It's just hard to do, right? Which is why we don't see a lot of the hards runners early on have that advantage in many of these races throughout the season, because you're on that slower compound. It's just hard to manage. Yeah, we're gonna have a few shots like that throughout the race. Don't be surprised if there's a few more of those, because it's so funny. It's so funny. I can't help it. It looks hilarious. So definitely expect some more just absolute cone takeouts throughout the race. Hard to avoid on that turn on this track. We're still pretty early on here, and to give you guys a different perspective, we're going to go to the onboard shot with Luke for this lap and take a look at what it looks like on the onboard for this track. So again, if you know the actual Hockenheim layout, there's these super long straightaways really early in the lap. These super long straightaways and these really important hairpins. But with this layout, that shortcut right after turn 1 pretty much cuts all that out and then just gets to the middle and last sector of the track, which I actually quite like this layout because I really like those portions of the track. That middle and last sector are my favorite parts of the track. My least favorite parts of the track are those early hairpins, mostly just because I think it'd probably be more fun in our league, but in general Forza multiplayer, featured multiplayer, Hairpins are not my favorite turns to deal with random people. It's usually not very fun. Let's just put it that way. It probably doesn't take much imagination to figure it out. But yeah, hairpins, like high-speed hairpins with random people that like to use brakes. It's not the best time. It's not the best time. So that makes this track a little frustrating in my opinion in featured multiplayer. Or the full-length version, rather. A little frustrating in featured multiplayer. But maybe, when we get to some, higher horsepower cars, maybe in our next series with the Porsches, maybe we could, mess around with the actual Hockenheim. Because I think with our league, it'd probably be... The actual layout would probably be really fun. But again, just with random people using used brakes, it's not as fun. But anyways, let's get back to the racing here. So we're about a quarter of the way through the race. And again, Matt's still off to a really good start. A few different schemes throughout the field. I should mention that too. So you see Matt in the brought out the body armor scheme. I think he's actually running a different one for like each race here. So keep an eye out for that throughout the night. I think he's gonna switch it up every single race. But this first one here at Hockenheim went with his body armor car. Luke going to the Optic White for the grand final. Looks like Opix is running. Opix and Detail in third and fourth still running their typical stuff. I believe Coop, Roman, Armada. Armada might have done some slight tweaks. I feel like he did a lot of slight tweaks like throughout the season, so he might have done that here. I'm not sure. But looks like they're all running relatively the same thing. But we go on board with Slaunch as Detail makes a big mistake right there. A couple bad laps for Detail in that particular corner, trying to get the hang of that one. Still in the top 5, but cost him a little bit of time there. But yeah, Slaunch doing a whole new car as well with his Curious George scheme for his son, I believe. And it's actually pretty cool when you... Oh, wait, we'll get back to that. Big moment in the race. Here we go, Luke going off in the sand. Let's take a look at some replays here, see what happened. And I think just flooring it, thinking he could make it stick around the outside right there to try to make a move on Matt, but just not able to on the hards. And it was really close right there. But yeah, I think just trying to make that stick flat out, and it was just not able to do so. And yeah, definitely looks like that's what happened here. One of those moves where maybe on the mediums, maybe could have made that happen. And maybe that's what, usually you practice, or at least I practice on the mediums a lot of the time, because, most of the time the mediums are what you're going to run in the race, or at least at some point you'll run on mediums. So I like to practice on, what I plan on running for the race, just to be used to that feel. So maybe he was just thinking, like, used to the mediums there, and thinking that move could work, but on the hards, not going to work, and goes in the sand. And that's a big moment in the race. It's going to give Matt a really huge lead right here. It's going to move Opix in a second. Luke falls back to third. Slaunch got pretty close for a moment, but, importantly, he was able to hold on to third. So holding on to that position is pretty big. Maybe he can mount a comeback here. But anyways, what I was saying about Slaunch's scheme, and you'd have to go back. Well, you can see it in a few of these shots, but if you go back to the beginning of the video, you can see it really well. My favorite part of his scheme is actually the sponsors that he has on the side. He went with like a yellow color scheme for all those sponsors to like kind of stand out, stick out with his like base like brown color that the car is, and it looks really good. I didn't even notice it throughout the night racing against him. It didn't really catch my eye just racing against him, because busy racing, hard to focus on that. But it was one of those things when watching the replay, I noticed it and I was like, oh, that's actually a pretty nice touch, looks really good. So I really like that part of his scheme. Going on board with or not on board, but following Roman here. Roman trying to catch up to Coop and trying to get around Coop. Coop doing a pretty good job here. I gotta give credit. Armada last week on Grand Oak looked a lot better. I gotta say, like, Ramda had a big improvement on Grand Oak in particular. Like, that was probably, I'm sure, he'll probably, like, still finish last, but, like, where he was in regards to, like, the rest of the field, and then also just, like, battling with people and keeping up a little bit, like, I think he was a lot better. And I think I'd say something similar for Coop here on Hockenheim. I think this is the best that Coop has looked on a road course. I think he looks a lot better here, and he's doing a good job of fighting with Roman and not making that pass easy. A pass that Roman would normally have pretty easy for the rest of the season. Coop, making it pretty difficult. So, gotta give him a shout out there. Luke getting around Opix there for second. That's pretty big. So the comeback is on, and he's trying to not waste too much time, trying to get back up to Matt, and trying to keep that battle going, because it's important. The second race in this grand final, is an oval. We're going to the Homestead Oval, and it's not like Eagle Rock. It's going to be very draft heavy, right? Like Eagle Rock has a slight little bit of draft action, but not that much. It's mostly on how you take the corners. Homestead is just entirely a draft race. Like that is going to be the name of the game. That is literally all that race is. How you actually run on your own does not matter at all. It is literally all going to be reliant on the draft. It's going to be our Daytona / Talladega essentially for these cars. So that being the middle race of the grand final, that switches things up a lot. Like you could potentially be someone that would regularly like finish on the podium. You could go to Homestead, finish like 6th. So these positions and like this first race in particular, I think are genuinely really important for this grand final to maximize your points here, because this goes for everybody in the field. You really don't know where you're going to finish on Homestead. It's not reliable. Like it being a drafting track, anything could really happen right there, and that could be a good thing, right, for some drivers that might not have a chance at a win here. Like, you know, for example, not to cheese him, not to pick on him, sorry, but like Coop, probably not going to win this race. Coop could absolutely win Homestead. Armada could absolutely win Homestead. I think that like legitimately anybody has a chance there on that track, especially if there's more cautions. If there's only a couple cautions, I think that maybe hurt their chances a little bit, but especially if there's more cautions, I think anybody has a chance there with it being a drafting track, and it really spices up the grand final and raises the importance again of both these road course races, because you have to maximize your points here. You do not know how that second race is going to go. You cannot rely on it. Oh my God, pit road contact. What? Let's get a replay here. Slunch. Okay, so I think what this was, I think Opix thought probably that the pit entry was like a little bit, like he didn't want to get off into the sand, so he checked up like really hard, and Slunch did not do that and was just like full setting it. Oh, big move potentially for the lead here. Oh, Matt gonna hold strong on the outside. But yeah, I think that that Opix thinking, you know, he didn't want to get in the sand on that pit entry, so taking it a little bit safe. Slunch on the other hand was just like YOLOs, and he just full sent, so ended up being contact there at the pit entry, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it can get kind of weird on some of these pit entries on Forza, because some of them are pretty straightforward, right? Some of them are just like a straight line, and the game just slows you down when it slows you down, so everybody just kind of full sends, right? But some of the pit road entries are like for example, Bathurst's pit road entry is like a literal chicane, and you have to slow down for it, and if you don't, it can really screw you over. Like that pit road is really treacherous, and this one's kind of like in the middle. There's a little bit of a turn in, but for the most part, if you angle it properly, you can pretty much just send it full speed and you'll be fine. Like once the game takes over, it'll slow you down. You should be fine. So this one's like almost there, but not quite. But again, Bathurst is a good example. If you have not raced that track, Bathurst pit road is very treacherous. Again, the entry is literally a super tight chicane. You cannot go too wide through it. And yeah, you're entering solo. You have to get hard on the brakes, or you are going to go into the sand trap. You're going to go into the wall. You're going to lose a crap load of time going into the pits. So you do not want to do that. You actually have to slow down on a pit entry manually, which is, again, not the case normally on a lot of these tracks. I'm taking a breather. Enjoy the onboard for a sec. All right, we're back. I needed the breather and the hydration break. I'm not used to doing this. I took a little bit of time off. Good time to mention that. Yeah, so obviously, sorry for these being a little bit late, but we have, you know, so much time off between the seasons, and I wanted to actually like enjoy some of that time off. Yes, I could have ripped the videos right away, but instead I wanted to kind of just chill for a little bit. And then, you know, once we get a little bit closer to the next season, then put out the videos and start to generate a little bit of the hype and interest for, you know, getting back to racing. So I kind of took that approach. So they should come out all like quickly, one after each other now. And yeah, after that, probably get around to hyping up. Oh my God, hyping up the next season soon. But look at this contact right here. I think Opix got a little wide on the exit, then had to bring it back over, and Slunch was trying to squeeze in, so just a little racing incident contact right there, but that was pretty heavy. Really good battling, really good race so far. I gotta say on Hockenheim short, I wasn't sure how this one was gonna race. Really glad that we ended up sending on it, though, because the racing product was way better on this track than I thought it would be. Really good battles, really good race, and it's still going. We have a lead battle here in a Moto 1, which hasn't really happened this season, right? Most of the Moto 1s have been pretty big gaps. Luke's had a pretty good record in most of the Moto 1s, but here we have like a legit battle going on like the whole way through the race for the lead. We have this battle between Slaunch and Opix for the final podium spot. That's getting really spicy. Detail is low-key kind of close, lurking in the top 5, could potentially play a role there too. Roman and Coop are really going at it. Like, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good action here. And we got to take a look at a replay here. What happened? Matt and Luke coming out of the pits and catching up to Armada. And Armada, oh my, whoa! Armada not giving a ton of room to Matt there on the side. He got a little grass action. That was a little close. That was a little dicey. Oh, right there, get the Optic versus 100 Thieves screenshot right there real quick. But yeah, that was a little dicey. Not sure what was up with that. To be fair, Ramda is struggling. He is on the hards, but he's stretching even longer than Matt and Luke did. Ramda's actually doing a slightly different strategy. So Matt and Luke went for the hards and then to go to the mediums. A lot of these drivers, I think, went for double mediums and are just trying to make those mediums last as long as possible. And Armada went for a third strategy. He's on the hards. He's going a little bit longer on those hards. He's going to go in for softs to close out the race. So a few different strategies throughout the field. Again, Matt and Luke on the hards to mediums. They are on that strategy. Most of the field, so like Opix, Slaunch, Detail, Roman, Coop, vast majority of the field, just that default medium strategy. And then Armada on that third strategy, again, going hards to softs. So, yeah, good representation throughout the field. A few different strats going on here. You gotta look at a replay here. This got really close. Well, actually, there was more to this. Here we go. There was more to this. Slaunch and Opix, their battle continuing. Take a look at this. Slaunch with a big run right here. Out of the last corner, carrying it into turn 1. Being really careful. They actually, I don't think they made any contact right there. It's really close, though. But that was just really great racing right there. And then sending it into turn 1. Opix going wide. Slaunch getting it nicely slowed down. Hits that apex and gets the pass. And then here we take a look at this battle, too. Liking these shots. Really close battle action for the lead. And Luke, again, a lot of these looks for the pass, he's been looking for the pass in turn 1, in turn 2, but hasn't quite been able to complete it there. So it makes you think, like, is that, is he still going to attempt it there? Is that still going to be where the move is going to, hopefully for him be made for the lead? Or is he going to mix it up and try somewhere else? Because he hasn't really tried, well, I guess the one turn where he made the mistake earlier, but outside of that, hasn't really tried many other areas. It's mostly been 1 and 2. Is where we've seen a lot of the pass attempts. And right there, you saw Opix essentially do what like Luke was trying to do earlier in the race on Slaunch. He had a really good run on the outside right there, got the pass on Slaunch. So yeah, really good battle for the lead, really good battle for the podium. And like I said before, Detail lurking behind in the 5th position right now, but close enough. If anything cheesy happens or if they keep battling, he could still play a role in this too. And that was kind of his MO at Grand Oak in the previous race too, where he was kind of like just hanging around and then would take advantage late in the race, get those podiums. He's kind of doing that there too, so he's not really out of this yet either. So just, yeah, really good action here at Hockenheim. And going all the way to the end of the race, Slaunch is going to send it. Slaunch is going to send it in turn 2. Oh, he's not slowing down. He's not slowing down. No, Slaunch in the tire barrier. Oh, no. Oh, we got to take a look at a few replays here. Look at this. Gets in way too hot. Into turn 2. Oh, right into the tire barriers. Oh, yeah, we're going to have plenty of replays on this one. I'm sorry, Slaunch, but this made me laugh so hard when I first saw it. So we have to get some replays here, but just a great battle between I did so many replays. Just a great battle between Slaunch and Opix for, the for the majority of this race. Comes I didn't realize I did like 8 different shots. Sorry, but a great battle for such a long portion of the race. Unfortunately, comes to an end right there. Slaunch just one slight mistake with big consequences. Those tire barriers. It's gonna slow. He's gonna get passed by Opix. He's gonna get passed by Detail as well, and fall all the way back to 5th. So that sucks. Slaunch obviously had great potential for a podium right there. Great speed. Great show from him and Opix there for most of that, but just one slight mistake cost him big. So unfortunate, but on the bright side, that was probably the funniest. That was probably the funniest wreck, at least in my opinion, that someone's had all season so far. So that was pretty entertaining. So, you know, I appreciate it for that factor for sure. Had to cough again. Okay, so Matt and Luke, the battle heating up, and you know, take a look at the lap count. We're getting pretty close to the end, and running out of time. Luke's gonna have to find a way around Matt here if he wants to take this first race victory, because you know he's been behind him pretty much the whole race and has had some attempts, hasn't been able to make them stick, but he's got to try something different. Maybe right here, really, really close. Maybe looking to make a move here, but just not quite. Carrying the momentum. Does he go for the same type of move earlier? Nope. Wisened up from earlier in the race. Not going to go for that. But where does he try to make a move? Because, again, there's not that much time remaining. Has to go for something. Maybe something in these last few corners here. Let's see. Following closely behind. Maybe right here. Yes, it looks like it's right here. Here's the send. And it looks like that's going to be the pass. Huge moment in the race. Going into the penultimate corner of the track right there. And you see this big dive to the inside, and a really good opportunity opens up for the move, makes it happen right there going into 2 to go. We'll take a look at a couple different angles of this one. Keeping it super tight to the inside, trying to keep it clean. They did a good job of that all race. And yeah, again, I love the rear-facing camera angles. It's so, I know Matt's gonna love it too. I love those shots in these battle situations. But yeah, really good move. Really good send there out of Luke to, I think, catch Matt off guard, because you see he just kind of took his normal line, could have defended it, but I think by the time Luke went for the move, there was just no way, like, if Matt went to defend it at that point, he would have cut across his nose and, you know, wrecked himself. So, yeah, but that's the thing. Had to go for the move somewhere else. And from the look of the onboard POV, it didn't even really look like that was planned either. It kind of looked like, I don't know, it kind of looked like one of those things where he was following Matt and then was like, oh, I have a run. All right. And then just sent it, you know, kind of like a slotch move, basically. That's kind of what it looked like to me. So, but sometimes that's what you got to do, especially because it's this track, making the pass stick is pretty hard to do here. Really good track for battling, and yeah, love the battle action that we have here, but actually making that pass stick can be pretty difficult, and that's what we've seen for a lot of this race. And really, like, that area where Luke just made it, or like turn 2 probably, are like the best places to make it stick. But Matt was getting really good runs on the exit of turn 2, like every single time. So turn 2 wasn't really working for Luke, so had to switch it up, had to try something different. And, you know, tried something different and actually ended up working out. And again, takes the lead late and going to be going to the white flag here, trying to close it out. Let's see if Matt has anything for Luke here. See if he can get back to his bumper and try to take this this win back. Regardless of what happens, this was a great run for Matt for sure. Like, this was definitely... like road course wise, easily his best run of the season for sure. Really good pace and holding that lead for a long time. Like, if we had a Moto 2 on this track, and for example, like, let's say he had like a rough race in Moto 1, got a really good starting spot for Moto 2, he easily like could take a Moto 2 here. 100%. I mean, hell, could have taken a Moto 1 here. We saw that here in this first race. So yeah, probably unfortunate for him. Probably wishing that this was a track in the regular season, because it seemed to be a really freaking good track for him. But yeah, putting on a really good show here at Hockenheim. But time is closing, and the gap, unfortunately, is not. It looks like Luke's going to close this one out, stretching it out a bit here at the end after finally making the move. But again, great race between the two throughout the entirety of it. Awesome to see a lead battle like pretty much go the entire damn race. Really, really sweet. But in the end, Luke going to be taking the first race of the grand final right here, and Matt going to be taking second, so off to a good start as well. Opix will hold on to the podium, a hard-fought podium. This was not an easy one. He had a lot of battle action this race, but was able to hold on to it. I think the big thing for him is just keeping those mistakes at a minimum. You know, Detail and Slaunch had a lot of big mistakes. Opix really didn't, and he just kept it clean and was able to get there. Detail 4th, Slaunch 5th, Roman 6th, Coop 7th. Had to go to a different POV here. Can't be showing that normal POV for Coop. If you know, you know. Got to keep our sponsors here. And then we go to Ramda rounding out to field in 8th. Curious what we got the roster mania started early. I wonder what the new org's gonna be. You know, that intel dropped on Dexerto. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I'm not kidding about the roster swap. You know, I'm curious what's happening there. But GG's. Hope you guys enjoyed the first race. And yeah, big race at Homestead coming up next. See you there.